So good morning, everyone. Welcome to Getting Back to Zero. This is the show that I have dreaded for a long time. I've had a great run on Facebook, and it's sad that it could all come to an end after we bring in, I'd say the mouth of the South, but she's from Ireland, so I don't know what you call someone that, but let the F-bombs fly. Claire is here. I am so thrilled. This is, if you don't know Claire, put the seatbelt on and get ready and hold on because she is as much fun as you can have in recovery. And I'm so excited. We have Peggy and Ketsia help control this thing. So I'm going to sit back. I'm going to bring everyone in. Good day, Claire. How you doing? Good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. See, I said that without any F-bombs, as you like to call them.
And it kills you.
I can do it, man.
We're good. Let them fly. There's no, we don't have any, my kids are grown. So we just want you to be you. Good morning, Peggy. Good morning, Ketsia.
Good morning.
Well, I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to jump this on speaker, and whoever wants to go and get this thing rolling, I cannot wait to hear this. So thanks for everyone for being here.
Okay. Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. I think I asked Claire to do this about 3 months ago. As soon as I knew that I was going to once in a while be a guest host on Back to Zero, I'm like, we have to get Claire. And I, talked to my partner in crime, Ketsia, and we both had the same idea. We both went, we almost fought over you, Claire, but fortunately, Ketsia and I get along really well. I'm just so excited to have you. And it's just, there's just no words. You are my Irish twin. And, I've been known to drop the F-bomb every once in a while in really inappropriate places. So I'm so excited to have you. Ireland has always been on my bucket list, always. Everyone I know who's been there says it's a very magical place, one of the most magical places on the planet. I married a Cooney, for God's sake. I think Cooney is the biggest Irish name in your phone book. I think I looked it up, and there's more Cooneys than any other name in the phone book. And my family actually migrated from Ireland through Prince Edward Island. So I always felt this affinity to you from the first day I saw you share on the Luckiest Club. So I'm going to start out right away because you're just you. What the hell do you do in Ireland when you don't drink?
Peggy, when I was drinking, I didn't do fucking anything. I mean, like when you're drinking, all I did was sit on my couch, watch Judge Judy, watch American import fucking television. Like, I mean, that's all I did. We didn't do anything. What's there to do in Ireland? The same as there is to do in any other fucking country, man. Like, I mean, I don't know. Do we drive around fields? Do we swim in the sea? Do we go visit? I don't know, man. Like you say, Cooney is one of the most popular. I'll have to take your word for that, pal, because anybody who has any kind of an Irish name abroad will tell you that it's the most popular fucking Irish name. We've a lot of O's. Do you know Mr. O'Sullivan, Mr. McCarthy, all of this kind of shite, it's all of this. See, Irish people are very clannish, and you'll get that even from the names, because what O means is of, okay, that's easy. And Mock means son of. So McCarthy is the son of Carthy, and O'Sullivan is of Sullivan, right? So they're all really fucking clannish names, So what do Irish people do when they don't drink? We haven't been able to drink out for the last 18 months. We've been all locked up in our fucking gaffs, man. Like, I don't know. I've been watching Americans, and I don't know what you do, whether you're in or out or up or down. We tend to do what we're told in this country. Well, to an extent. And I suppose I have lockdown to thank for getting me to sobriety, for getting me fucked up on drink in the first instance, but for getting me to sobriety sooner rather than later. And I got to sobriety quicker because I realized what the hell was going on. If I was still going into an office at the rate I had started drinking, I would have wrapped my car around a tree And I probably would have taken somebody with me, to be honest with you. I'm one of these lucky people, I suppose. We're all lucky. We are the luckiest. That has still a lot of those yets to go. You know, I've yet to be arrested. I've yet to crash my car, mainly because I send golden balls out to the shop to get the drink all the time. I'm too lazy to get up off my hole.
We all know what you're talking about when you make a reference to golden balls, but can you
oh
tell
shit, sorry, that's my husband. Apparently he's a saint. That's what Susan calls him anyway. And to be fair to him, look.
Oh wait, golden balls? Yeah. Is that what you said?
Golden balls, yeah.
Okay, sorry. I'm taking notes. Just wanted to make sure.
Yeah, he is actually a redhead, in case that's what you were wondering, Jeff. I wasn't going there. You know, golden as in wonderful. You know, like he's been a huge part of my sobriety. Huge, big, huge. What's that movie? Big, huge. Oh, Pretty Woman. Sorry, it just came into my head. If it wasn't for him, like he'd see me coming down the stairs in the morning and I'd be, you know, I have my hand. I don't know if anybody can see, my hands are shaking like jazz hands. I used to come down in the morning and I'd say to him, I have to have a fucking drink. I have to have a drink. You know, and physically I did have to have a drink, you know. Hold on, somebody ringing me. Decline.
We lost your video. There you go.
There we go. Somebody was ringing me there. So, yeah, golden balls. He is really, now it's not without his faults, but he has been a huge, huge part of my recovery and where I got. Now you see this is a Mr. mug because I broke mine. I broke the Mrs. one. So he kindly donated his one to me. So, Jesus, I went a little bit off topic there. What do we do in Ireland when we don't drink? We do normal things. Look, I live in a town in the Midlands and we have a lot of problems with alcohol in this country. Now, there's a lot of people that don't drink in this country, and that's a lot of that is older people. It's to do with the whole Catholic, what are they called? It's like prohibition. I can't remember what they're called. Anyway, they have these little pins and they don't drink and stuff like that. But we have a huge problem with drinking in this country. Huge. It's totally knitted into our society. Like where I live, I'm just waiting for, now that the pubs are open again, we're just going to see all that violence out in the streets again. You know, it's absolutely endemic. Yeah, it's the same as anywhere, I suppose. But here, we just need to start shouting from the rooftops, lads. We need to start getting the message across that it's not fun. It's not cool. It doesn't make you look good. And it certainly didn't make me look good. I can tell you that, lads.
Wow. Yeah. I think, you know, when I picture Ireland, because I lived in England for about 6 or 7 years in my 20s. And when you know, the whole like, not rivalry, but like the Brits and the Irish and whatever. And you think, you know, I would think that the Brits party hard. And I'm like, man, they are heavy drinkers. And then we went to Ireland and I was like, oh my gosh, like it's just part of the culture, I think.
Oh,
and that's so ingrained. Like, how do you stay anchored in your sobriety? What kind of rituals or things do you do that keep you from straying off the path?
Look, at this time around, I'm only, when did I get sober? Beginning of January. And previously I had about 3.5 years sobriety from 2015. And I'm such a stubborn bitch. I was going to use a different word there. Saved it just in time, lads. I'm such a stubborn bitch that when it came to me, like when I said, that's it, I am fucking sick of this shit. I am sick of waking up like this, sick of feeling like this. I'm sick of this anxiety. I said, that's it. And I have to get to that point in order to quit drinking. Nobody is going to tell me to stop drinking. So for me, having made that decision, I don't have any difficulty when I'm out and about. When I'm with family or friends and they might be drinking, I just don't do that. That's just not what I'm doing. The danger for me would be when I got home by myself. Yeah. Nobody knows what I'm doing. I can still tell everybody that I'm fucking wonderful. Look at me, the sober queen. Boom. And sneakily drinking away. Sneakily drinking away by myself. Yeah. I mean, easy peasy. And I say Golden Balls has been a huge support. And when I say he's been a huge support, it's because he fucking gets that. There's no point in him. If I came home and I've done it in and out, like started this seriously again back in August, and it took from August to January to really get the message through, but I have to do it, you know. I started working an awful lot of stuff in from January. In the last time I was sober, I did tit all and nothing. If you want to call a dry drunk, I suppose. I just didn't drink. That's all I did. I just didn't drink. This time around, I'm like, I may as well be a psychologist. I've read so many fucking books, lads. I follow all the cool chicks on Instagram. I just have got a community. You guys, I would text Ketsia saying, come on, let's go do our 5K run. That kind of went out the window, didn't it, bitch? You know, I could
Yes.
I have a chat with Susan, and Susan is just this out of this world character for me. And because she's Irish as well, we have a huge affinity. Anybody I know that's still struggling with alcohol, I know quite a few people that are still struggling with, even people I was in rehab with. The one thing that I see them not doing is they're not connecting with a community. They don't have somebody. If you can't ring up your mom or your dad or your sister or your pal and say, oh my God, I just walked into the supermarket and I wanted to make a beef bourguignon. What's on the list of ingredients? All of fucking red wine, lads. You know, you rang me and said that to me. We'd have a fucking great laugh about it on the phone. I ring my dad and he's like, well, what? Buy the bottle of red wine. What's your fucking problem, Claire? Why are you on the phone here? You know, now, at the same time, talking about my dad will say to me, Claire, you know, I don't even know why you bother drinking. You're fucking mental as it is. And he's got a point, right? But when I was younger, this drinking, I was always a bossy bitch. I was always the popular one in school and all that kind of jazz. But inside, I was so afraid of not being this tough bitch, this, you know, can have it all, had a child at 17, can still be a party cow, you know, do all the shit. This time around, community, exercise, journaling, reading nonsense books, and just letting myself flow into it. Listening to my podcast and have people telling me I am worthy. Love Sarah Blondin. Love Sarah Blondin. Yeah. She tells me I'm worthy every night. So really, yeah, community, huge. I go to the TLC meetings. Obviously, Susan has her own meetings that you guys head up to. What does she call it these days? Ola Sober. And I do some AA meetings. There to anchor me, there to ground me, because it's a lot more serious than any of the other stuff. And the AA ones I do, they're Irish people as well. So it's kind of the same people who went to the same kind of school as you, with the same kind of upbringing, if you have the same kind of accent as you, you know, all that kind of jazz. It grounds me. I did it this morning. I made sure to do it this morning. You'd think, yes, this is you grounded, so she, for fuck's sake.
So what I'm hearing is that you kind of have an a la carte approach to your recovery and your sobriety, where you're like, this time you're reaching for different things to keep you there, as opposed to trying to do it on our own, where it's like, I was like you, I was a drinker at home. Like I would go out and it's like, oh, I only had half a bottle of wine. What about the 3 bottles I had at home, you know, later? So I think that being honest and being able to get out and find what works for you is huge. And what are the recovery programs like in Ireland?
Same as I imagine we have, you know, we have AA. You'd love to say AA is huge here, but you don't know that AA is huge until you go looking for it. Which is, I think, one of the big issues with AA, that it's the anonymity of it that makes it so difficult to click with. And I think I had a friend who introduced me to the meeting I go to, which was great. You know, we have Smart Recovery, which I did try. Didn't really like it. I didn't really like the mix up that they have of kind of, you know, you'd have maybe behavioral addictions as well as substance addictions, kind of all mixed together. It didn't suit me. I didn't really like it. There's another one called Life Ring, and that I found that kind of fucking boring. Everybody's just talking about how difficult their week was without booze, and I'm like, come on, lads, life is a bit more fun than that, you know. But my experience of recovery really is mainly to do my main part of it has been through rehab, or whatever you want, whatever the phrase du jour is. I went in 2015, I went to rehab. It was kind of a public place. I wanted to go somewhere where they were going to beat me up like it was school, because back then I was quite scared. But they just scared me sober. It was like, it's run by a nun. It's 3 months long, inpatient. And everybody had jobs and scrubbing the skirting boards and all this shit. And I got my job in the sewing room, because that was the easiest one. And because you could chat to the fellas when they were going past doing the gardening as well. So we had a bit of gas. But it's just very, very 12-step focused. Mm-hmm. So this time around, back in August, I said to myself, I'm lucky enough to have private health insurance. So I'm going to go with something. I'm going to give myself every opportunity here. And I did inpatient for 6 weeks. So I was able to go. When I say I was able to go to one, I've been in and out of that one 4 times, I think, since last August. And one of the times I went in, I wasn't even drinking. I hadn't been drinking, but I was starting to lose my mind, and I was starting to lose touch with my communities. I was starting to lose touch with my journaling. I was starting to slide. I could see it coming. Any relapse for me has always been coming. I think it's the same for everybody, for weeks on end beforehand. So yeah, everything's available. I just wish we could shout about it more. I wish there was more women-centric. You know, I read Anne Dowsett Jones's book back in 2015 when there wasn't a huge amount of quick lit around, and I've always been an uber feminist. My father is a super feminist as well, you know, as in, you're fucking capable of doing everything that my older brother was doing, so yeah, go out and fucking shovel the coal, bitch. But when I realized that it was different for women, addiction is different for women. Women end up in addiction for different reasons. Women get stuck in addiction for different reasons. To drag yourself out of the hole that is addiction is very different for women. I'm not saying it's worse. I'm not saying it's better. I'm just saying it's fucking different, okay? So not all men, etc., etc. It's just different. And Anne's book, to me, will say that it's something we need. And I think here in Ireland, it's something we need massively. Like, if I could go out there, if I could start up an Instagram page tomorrow, I'd be like, this is Claire's, let's get absolutely fucking sober today and do fucking podcasts every day for a living and shout at people all day and curse all day and have people come to me and say, you know, something, I've been worrying about this for 6 months. You know, something, I've been worrying about this since the beginning of the pandemic. I don't have any time for the phrase sober curious. I think it's a fucking marketing, the start of a marketing machine, no offense, lads, over in the US. I think it's taken advantage of women who know they have a problem, who know they have an issue with alcohol, and it's taking advantage of the fact, saying, you can still drink, but buy all these books, or subscribe to all these podcasts, or come to these meetings. We won't make you say you're an alcoholic. And personally, there's just not enough here, but it's the same as it is anywhere. It's all quiet. It's all dirty church based. It still is, you know, it really still is. So it's the same as addiction is the same the world over. Treatment centers, and like, I could talk to you all day about the crack I had in rehab, honest fuck. Like, I made so many good friends as well, but it's all the same stuff. There's nothing taught in schools. There's nothing for young people. There's
Claire,
nothing for, you know, sorry?
What is the answer? I'm sorry to interrupt, but when someone, I love what you said about the sober curious, but there are people, so how do you respond to that person that's saying, you know I should, but I don't know if I'm ready to fully commit? How do you address that sober curious?
Oh, but that's fine. That's not what I'm saying. They call people sober curious. What my impression of it is, and what I see being bandied around, is more of a case where you can be sober curious. You can come and go to meetings and talk about how alcohol is affecting you badly and why you're coming here, and we'll call you sober curious. You maybe are never going to give up alcohol, but to me, somebody who goes looking for help with their drinking has got a fucking problem. They're not curious about it. They have a problem. Somebody says, I'm not ready to give up drinking. Absolutely. Jesus, nobody's going to make you do it. But I don't see sober curious as being a halfway house. I'm an all or nothing kind of gal. You either have alcohol in your bloodstream and it's causing you problems, which it does, I think, for fucking 90% of people. You know, my question to people is, somebody says to me, well, you know, I think I drink too much. So I'm just curious what all of this stuff is about. You know, I am abstemious. I don't drink. Peggy doesn't drink. Ketsia doesn't drink. We have people come into TLC who are not ready to give up drinking, who are doing day one over and over again, and then they might fuck off for 3 months and then they come back, but they're not sober curious. They need sobriety in order to have a life. In my opinion, that's me. I've asked my daughter, who is 24, just as a conversation, I said to her, why do you drink? Why does anybody drink? Why does anybody put poison inside themselves? I sound like I'm lecturing, but I'm not. That's a simple fact. And she said to me, well, it lowers my inhibitions. And I said, okay, get you, right? I'm not going to get any deeper into that with you. But my next question to anybody would be, why do you need to lower your inhibitions? What's the issue there that you're not being your real authentic self with the people around you? Maybe that's too deep. I don't know, but I'm not going to apologize for it. I don't think sober curious is a thing. If you're curious about sobriety, that's a different ballgame.
I love that, Claire. And I think Jeff interviewed Professor Rick this morning on
super
show.
Love Rick.
Yeah,
I love his little face on the screen.
And when you talk about the fact that sobriety is different for women, I really want you to just talk a little bit more about that, because Jeff actually had a decent analogy this morning. It kind of shocked me that it was just so decent. But
thank you
he was
so much.
talking about the fact
all
that,
the love,
you know,
Peggy,
like
all the love.
I'm not even sure it was an analogy, but it was really good. So can you get off the screen so I can talk to Claire? Can you hear me? Am I okay? Oh, okay, because all I see is you. Is that when Jeff was a football player in college, and so when he drank, he was a cool football player. When women drink, we are immoral, we have no self-control, we're awful people. And so I love that you brought up that sobriety for women is very, very different. Can you talk just a little bit more about that?
You missed one there, Peggy, and that one is she's a mother.
Oh, right, exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
For as you know, as some kind of societal standard, she's a mother. You know, I had my daughter when I was 17 in 96, and I was in college, and I remember I had no problem going to pubs on my own because I wanted to go to have a drink, you know, even back then, and I knew well. People didn't just go to the pub on your own. You went with your pals when you were in your early 20s. Like, there's something wrong with you here. I didn't bother going around telling anybody. But I had always been brought up with this absolute confidence and that I could do anything, you know. So it didn't even occur to me that people were looking at me funny. The outfits in the pub or whatever. I used to go to the Bleeding Horse on Camden Street, which is right just outside the city centre, but it's a very, very old pub. And I'd happily sit there and read my, I don't know what like People magazine or something, some shitty gossipy magazine. We didn't really have, you wouldn't be sitting there staring at a mobile phone at the time. Sobriety is different for women for any number of reasons to me. It's different for me because I have no problem turning around to somebody and saying, yeah, I'm a fucking drunk, what of it? But for a lot of women with family I don't have small children, you see. Coming out, I've heard people say, what'll I say? Let me give you an example. When I was in rehab the last time, and I had gone in without having been drinking. So I was still going for my runs in the morning. I was the picture of fucking health, and everyone else was dying of death lying around the place, you know. And one of the women said to me, you were only allowed your mobile phone in the evenings, and I think it was all day Saturday and all day Sunday. And this woman said to me, I can't commit to doing this program. I can't do that. You know, I might have my children to look after. And she said to me, I'm getting all these text messages in the WhatsApp group women trying to arrange play dates. What do I say to them? And I'm a different person, and I would have just ignored it or told them, fuck off, I'm busy. Ask my husband, he's doing it. You know what I mean? But she was so caught up in the idea that other people would find out that she had an addiction, that other people would find out that she has a disorder that's defined in the DSM-5. You know, it's there. There's no fucking denying it. Now, you can't do a blood test for it. But for her, constantly was a question of, who do I tell about this? Where do I say I am to the girls? How do I tell the PTA that I do the meeting? There wasn't a single fucking lad in there, I can tell you, that was worried about the PTA, because everything was ticking along very nicely outside for him. They didn't have to worry about it. A man comes into recovery and he comes into recovery. Everything else is left behind. A woman comes into recovery and she brings everything with her. That's it. Especially when you have a family. And I don't care, because people can say to me, men have families too. Men do the cooking too. They do. My husband, golden balls, case in point, he does all the dinners. But for women, it is just different. I'd sit down and drink as much as my husband. I had 20 cans of beer. I'm 5'3" and fucking, I don't know how many pounds. I'm like 9 stone. I don't work it out. So I'm trying to drink the same amount as him. I physically can't do it. Physically, alcohol impacts me in a very different way to how it affects my husband. Women have, okay, let's talk about wine o'clock. Again, the fucking marketing game that is big alcohol has just decided to make everything pink, and all of a sudden women are going to fucking buy it. Pink. We're pinkifying addiction. They've brought in new legislation in this country where when you go into the supermarket, the alcohol has to be not just away in a separate corridor. There's actually, like, when you walk into a supermarket, there's a plastic push thing. So it's actually sectioned off from the rest of the supermarket. That's fucking fantastic. I don't have to walk past it every day. I don't have to hum and haw about it every day. It's women that are doing the shopping. It's women that have to walk past it every day. The pressure that's on women to be, like, Hetsia, you're a writer, okay? So you have your writing stuff to do. You have a daughter in school, and I imagine she has all this PTA, fucking skating, nonsense, dressing up Thursdays, whatever the fuck little kids are doing these days. They're all the same. They were the same when my daughter was small as well. The pressures. You see a couple break up and a guy gets up and he walks out the door and he goes and stays in a hotel. She left at home. She drinks a bottle of wine. Then her friends come over to commiserate with her. And she says, oh, let's have a glass of wine. She already had a fucking bottle. It's in the bin. You know, it's like, we all did it. Like, you know, it's, I think support-wise, women are different to men. I've seen men in recoveries, and they're very, very honest men, I think, in recovery rooms, in the AA rooms, the men I've seen, they'll come out and they'll say, yeah, I was a dickhead. I did this, I did that, I did the other. And they're very, very honest. Whereas women are ashamed often to admit what they have done. And because she's a mother. What is she doing going around in a short skirt drinking wine? She's a fucking mother, lads. You know, I just think it's very different. Women, men. I don't know about the whole Venus-Mars thing, but most definitely for me, women only, because women fucking rock.
I love that. I think that's absolutely true. I remember a point towards the end of my drinking when I was thinking, okay, I'd been thinking for a while that I needed to get sober, but I didn't know how I was going to fit it into my life. And I think that's the point you're trying to make, where it's like, how can I can't just disappear. I was a single parent at the time. I was raising my daughter with no help from anybody, no family there. And it's like, I can't disappear. Even just going to the ER to get medication for withdrawal symptoms, which I didn't tell them that's what it was, anybody else, that's what it was for. It was like, oh, I have panic attacks. Well, yeah, those are caused from withdrawal from alcohol or too much alcohol, right? And so coming out of that and not admitting and not being able to, because I had to carry on life. I had to take my daughter to school. I had to be able to do the activities that she was doing, that meeting up with friends, even so-called, other mom friends had no idea what was going on with me behind closed doors until it got sloppy at the end. But like for a long time, it was like, this was just how I had to lead my life, because I couldn't leave my day-to-day life in order to recover. So it was that it actually made me sicker for a long time until I was able to have a bit of a support network and a community like you talk about, where it's like, this is the reality, because there was so much shame around it. It's like, I can't handle my liquor. I'm having withdrawal symptoms from it. Like, why can't I handle it? And just that big guilt and shame of like, what am I doing wrong? When you see in the media that all these women are balancing and doing this juggling act of everything in their lives. So I think it's so dangerous giving women that message that like, you can have it all, including an alcohol problem,
Yeah. Like, anytime a woman says to me, I don't have time for recovery, or I don't have time to do this program, I'd say, alcoholism is a fucking career in itself. It is time consuming. There was a girl that was in rehab. She had a very small child. I can't spend 6 weeks in here and leave my baby. Now, I didn't actually like her. She was a pain in the bollocks anyway, but she said, oh, blah, 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 I'm my baby and I have to look after my baby. It's like, how much looking after your baby are you doing when you're face down in a puddle of puke in the kitchen for 6 hours?
Yeah.
So
That's
awful.
the irony. That's the irony.
Yeah.
You think that you're managing it at home, but I look back now compared to the parent I am now, what I was then, and I'm like, I wasn't even present for her, and I was always having naps in the afternoon after I picked her up, aka I was passed out for a few hours at a time. And she was young at the time, but in your head you're thinking, well, people are going to look down their nose at me, so I can't do this. I can't possibly leave, and you carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. So I think that woman is representative of so many women that think, I can't leave my responsibilities, the world is going to fall apart. Well, the truth is, my husband can handle things with my daughter. If I leave them be, it's actually better than if I'm hovering around doing stuff. People learn and people can sort it out. You have to.
Of course, he's a fucking grown man, for Christ's sake. He can wipe an arse and shit. We all learned how to wipe an arse, for Christ's sake. Like, I really think for that young woman, I can be very upfront, to me. Like, I'm the kind of person who has conversations with my dad about the fact that how are we going to repatriate his body if he dies while he's over in Thailand. So I'm quite upfront. And when your woman said to me, I don't have time to blah, 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 and I'm going to miss my child's first birthday if I stay in rehab. And I said, do you know something, pal? You're going to miss a lot more birthdays from 6 foot under if you keep this shit up. How about that?
Right. That's the truth, though. And I don't think for a long time people want to admit that you can die from this. And
it's terminal.
On that path. Oh, yeah.
Alcoholism is
progressive
terminal.
And it's terminal. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. Last Saturday, I went to a dance recital, and it was just for my grandkids, and they're 2 9-year-olds and a 5-year-old. And we went up to pay for turn our tickets in. And the person that was taking the tickets had a beer at a children's dance recital.
Yeah.
And I was so turned off. Then when we went to go sit down, they actually had a wine and beer bar at a children's dance recital. And I was, You know, I drank among the best of them. I had my own dance studio. I would have never thought that we would do that, because all I could think about was, why do you need a beer or a glass of wine to watch your kid dance on stage, right? Like, how did we get there? And then I kept thinking, oh my God, all these parents are going to drive their kids home in the car. I think Ketsia even said that to me, like, they're going to drive their kids home in the car. We did all that. We did that too. But I could just feel my daughter next to me saying, Mom, don't say it. Don't bring it up. I already know what you're thinking.
You know that? You stand up and you fucking say it. Hello, buddy. What the fuck? You know, that's part of another problem where all children's activities are actually adults' activities. They're not for the children at all. Why the fuck would you have beer at a? What the fuck? Like, yeah.
I was flabbergasted, and you know, I did say something. I said, you know, this is ridiculous that we do this. I mean, my daughter had a glass of wine. My son-in-law had a beer. That's all they had. But the fact that the kids,
but they would have been perfectly fine without.
Yeah, and the kids see that and they go, oh my gosh, we can't go to a dance recital without liquor, and I can't wait till I'm my mom's age so I can have beer and wine when I watch my own kid dance.
Or
it's
else
the
they're
message
thinking
that we're sending.
Or else they're thinking, if they know anybody, and anybody who drinks, you don't have to be a dysfunctional fucking alcoholic to get a bit loopy when you drink. And kids fucking know that. They see people's personalities changing after
they
2 or 3
feel
drinks.
unsafe. Kids will say, you know, we hear it all the time on TLC, right? That, oh, I'm really glad my kids are little because they won't remember this. Bullshit. They remember from embryo. When you don't pick them up when they're crying, when you don't respond to a crying baby because you've had 2 glasses of wine, they learn that. We form our kids' brains, and kids do not feel safe when their parents are drinking.
And how about the photos?
You just said.
And how about the photos of their birthday parties with fucking glasses of wine and cans of beer all over the place? I have them. I have photos of my daughter's 4th birthday.
Christening.
With beers everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything.
I don't even know if it's this way in Ireland, but you know, obviously Halloween's such a big deal. And at the end, we got a treat at every house as long as you carried your wine glass with you.
I've heard that about the US. That hasn't caught on here that I know of, but again, I don't have so much. I've heard that. That is fucking nonsense. Isn't that just bizarre? Like, you couldn't get a holiday more geared towards kids, towards children. Like, and it's supposed to, and it happens about 5 or 6 in the evening. Like, it's not even 9 o'clock at night. It's just fucking bizarre. Like, no, we don't have that here yet, but I'm sure some clever dick somewhere will pick it up and start doing sponsored Halloween costumes or something. Trick or treat, give me a glass of fucking wine. Like,
I just had a conversation with one of my daughters not too long ago, and she said, Dad, I thought we went to this house, and this house because you wanted to show us off. And it's like, no, that's where the beer was.
Yeah.
So we went there because they knew, here comes Jeff and, you know, whoever else is with them, pushing the cooler. Well, some of you called it a stroller, but when we pushed it, it was a cooler. It looked like a stroller, but it wasn't carrying any babies. I know that. But that was, it's pathetic.
That's really bad.
And that was my priority. The beer was more of a priority than the kids' Halloween event.
Yeah.
That came, sadly, first.
Yeah.
Ketsia?
Okay. So I guess something we wanted to know, well, I wanted to know is, what is something about Claire that we would be shocked to know? I mean, we kind of, obviously, maybe people listening or watching this haven't met you, but they've got a good idea about your personality through our conversation that we've just had. What's something that would shock us about you? Doesn't have to be sobriety related.
Shock you about me? I don't know.
I know you're pretty out there.
I come up with something fucking shocking. I don't know.
You. I love this.
I do too.
I don't know. What would shock you about me?
Not a lot.
No. Something I did want to talk about, actually. Something I want to talk. It's not shocking, but at the moment I'm 42 years of age, and at the moment I am doing a degree in law. I'm doing my bachelor's in law, because all the exams I did and the studying I did when I was 18, 19, 20 was more geared towards getting a job, because I had Sophie and all that kind of stuff. So when she finished, she went up to Dublin to university. And I decided, fuck all to be doing, because I wasn't drinking at the time. And I launched myself into a degree in law. And I did that degree. Nearly finished now. I'll be finished the end of August. There's something that'll shock you. No, won't shock you. I was going to say, I recently wrote a paper about the free market economy for selling babies as part of my law degree. It was fucking amazing. We'd have to do a whole episode or a whole radio show for that, but that was funny. But I wanted to stay out there, because I'm sure you probably have a lot of female listeners as well. And I hear people a lot saying to me, I couldn't go back to study. I could never do that. And oh my God, it's like going back to school, and it's too late now. And I'm doing this degree because I'm interested in law. I absolutely love it. I love arguing with people. Will I have a career in law? Possibly not. I'm quite happy in my career at the moment. The company I work for gives me a lot of shit. Like, I don't know, fucking mental health here. Claire, have a free Pilates class, have health insurance, all that nonsense, the good stuff. And I wanted to say that if anybody out there is throwing around with an idea, it doesn't have to be a Bachelor of Arts in a subject. If there's something you want to go for now that you're in sobriety and you have a little bit of sobriety under your belt, I'm not suggesting 2 weeks sober, go and train to be a microbiologist. I'm talking if there's anything that you've always wanted to do. Like we just said, addiction is a career. It's a job in itself. You find yourself with a lot of spare time and a lot of brain power going nowhere. So instead of emptying your brain with alcohol, start filling up your brain with some super duper stuff, even if it's just like flower arranging. That sounded really smarmy. I actually really like plants. I've turned into a plant person. I never thought I have this app on my phone for plants. It's a fucking social media for plants.
Yes.
You post plant selfies.
Oh my goodness.
It's fucking phenomenal. I love it. Anyway, I just wanted to say, if anybody out there is toying with the idea of doing third level education, second level education, going back and getting a high school diploma, whatever it is in the US, just fucking go for it. Don't even think about it. Spend the money on it. How much money did we spend on booze? Spend the money on it. Spend the time on it. I still can't think of anything that would shock you.
Okay. That's
I have one other question.
Yeah.
Claire, you're talking about the connection and how important that was. And I guess this goes probably more towards women and what you were saying about the shame of I'm a mother. Well,
yeah.
How do you address the need for connection when I don't want to tell anyone that I have a drinking problem because I'm a mother? I don't want anyone to know that what I'm doing. So I'm missing out on what I need, which is that connection.
Well, we've plenty of people who attend AA or who attend TLC or who attend smart recovery meetings and don't tell people around them. Okay. I am possibly, this is controversial, but I imagine it is controversial. If you're not ready to tell people around you, if you're not ready to say that you don't drink because you have a problem, if you don't drink just because you don't drink, you don't like it, you don't like the taste of it, that's fine. You don't have to go around telling people. But being in sobriety for me is part of who I am now. It's not just a case where I don't drink. So if you don't want to tell people, if you don't want to say to your family, you're cutting your nose off to spite your face. And in my opinion, you're just leaving yourself an out. If you don't say to people, I'm not drinking, it means that possibly in the future, I did it myself. I didn't tell the girls I went to college with. I can't be telling them. They don't need to know. Only because in the back of my mind, I'm thinking when I meet up with them after this lockdown shit is over, I can have a drink with them. I think you need to think about why you don't want to tell anybody. You don't have to go around shouting it from the rooftops, but if it's part of what you're doing and there's a reason for it, people are going to fucking notice anyway. If you're a party animal, you come in the door and you're like, no, I'm not drinking today. I am driving, or I am on antibiotics. People are going to go, yeah, bollocks, she's pregnant. You know, if you are not willing to tell close people around you, I think there's other problems. I don't think your problem is with not telling people. I think you're holding something back for yourself. Again, you don't have to shout about it. You don't have to tell everybody about it. You can have that part of your life, which is a lot of the people who attend TLC will quite happily tell you. I haven't got any meetings the last week because I was in my parents' house and I couldn't log on to a meeting. And you can't disappear for an hour. You don't have to tell them what you're doing, but you can't go outside and go for a walk for an hour. You know, there's something else at play, Jeff. There's something else going on there, in my opinion.
Yeah, Professor Rick again said one other thing that I thought was so cool this morning is he said, if you're one of those lucky people that can live your sobriety out loud, that you owe it to the world to do that. There are so many people that cannot do that, that there are people that would lose their job, or, you know, I know in US nurses and doctors have to go a certain route. They have to pay all this money and then they have a mark on their, you know, on their record. There are a lot of people like that. I have a job where I work for a university that promotes me to live my sobriety out loud. And I think it's our responsibility, especially as women, to go do that if we're able to do that.
I completely agree with you. And I am able to do that. I don't have a sober Instagram account. I don't have so people I go to for sober lunches. And that's all because I'm coming to sobriety out, just coming out of lockdown as well. But I don't shy away from it either. If I want to post a link, like if anybody didn't know that I was in sobriety, when they see the comments and the likes I get on all my photos, they're all like the sober queen, the sober dude, sober person here. You know, I mean, yeah, you'd want to be fucking picked not to see it, like. But I agree with you, and I know, there's one of the girls that's in the army, for example, and she's she has quite a high level of what do you call it?
Clearance.
This clearance, yes. And for her, if she opens her gob, she's going to be in trouble. But what I will also say about something like that is that if you're a surgeon and you can't tell people you're in sobriety, if you're a surgeon, I mean, it's so ridiculous. If you're a surgeon, you're drinking like a hooer in your house and going into work to operate on people, which is more fucking dangerous here, lads. You know what I mean? Like, you know, realistically. But I think that you're right, and it is up to people like me or yourself, if you're able to, or Ketsia, because you work for yourself as such, you know, that if we can shout about it, we should, because things like that need to fucking change. We need to change things from the ground up, you know. Fuck off, patriarch, fuck off. It's just fucking nonsense, you know. Be an alcoholic, don't tell anybody, it's fine. But if you decide that you're going to be in sobriety, don't fucking tell anybody either. Stupid.
Ketsia, why don't you ask the last question and then I'll do the rapid fire.
Okay, I don't know if this is the last one that you're talking about, but it just made me think. Claire, can you sum up in one sentence for us what your sobriety means to you today?
Today, sobriety means that I have a life. Today, sobriety means that people can depend on me. Today, sobriety means that I can have a conversation with you and say fuck as many times as I like and not think, did I say that because of the booze? I am me. Everything that comes out of my mouth is because I want it to come out, not because I've turned into this nasty character who doesn't care about anybody else's feelings and has no morals. My sobriety means that I have morals. Not, they're kind of probably down in the gutter, to be fair. They're not the highest morals, but I have them. I have a sense of who I am. Sobriety means fucking life to me, Ketsia, and that's the end of it. I wouldn't have a life if I didn't have sobriety.
Bravo. I love that. I I do love that. I think I wrote down so many nuggets of, wisdom and just like funny stuff that you were saying while you were talking. So I'm like, you could literally, I could write a book about all of the stuff that all the advice here, because it's just so powerful. And I think really touching on how this affects women is a whole conversation in itself that needs to be ongoing, because it's not getting better in society. It is getting worse, and it's getting harder for women. And I think talking about these issues is the only way that we're going to help people find a way out of it. So I just appreciate you so much for being here. I know Peggy has some little rapid fire fun questions.
Just before she does, it's a privilege. I'm coming from a place of privilege. I am more privileged than a lot of other women are, because I have support, because I can say it out loud, because I won't get fired for saying what I do. Mm-hmm. Because I am financially stable. I am in and I never forget the privileged position that I'm in, mm-hmm. from a healthcare perspective, from a first world perspective, from being white perspective.
Yes.
I never, ever forget the privileged position that I'm in a position to talk about these things without any repercussions.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Even my husband's getting that now. I mean, obviously, I have lived my life very out loud the past 2 years, and he's a very private person. He's a financial analyst, so go figure. But he would rather have a sober wife and give up his privacy. Mm-hmm. And that is a big deal. And I hope you come back, because I'd love to kind of focus around how Golden Balls supports you, because really he's been a big part, at least in listening to. He's been a big part, and that would be a really neat conversation to have down the road. And obviously, we're going to have a lot of people saying, "Can you bring Claire back? She's so fucking awesome."
Yeah. Do you know what
so,
we should do?
That's going to happen for us.
Balls on as well. We should have Golden Balls on as well. He's not here today. He's off playing fucking cricket. But anyway, I think
if he do it, yeah, we do
it if he's told to do it, Peggy.
That's my husband.
And again,
well.
I think that the 3 couples, maybe 4 couples, if we can get Elizabeth on with Jeff, that would be just a kick-ass show. So we really
that'll be hilarious.
Agreed.
Oh, it'd be so good.
It'll be like special.
All that. The Newlywed Game.
Yeah. I'm in.
So,
I don't even have to ask him.
Really quickly, because I'm going to have Jeff can wrap it up. I'm going to ask you a bunch of questions. You already have them, so hopefully you have some answers, and God knows what you're going to answer. Favorite sport?
Snooker. I love snooker. Food. I love watching snooker. I don't play it, but I like watching it. I don't play any team sports. What?
What's snooker?
What's fucking snooker?
I have never heard of snooker. I've eaten a snooker bar for lunch.
I've heard of snooker.
I've never heard of snooker.
It's like pool, except it's more professional.
Oh, okay. I didn't know with you. I thought it might have been something majorly kinky.
Oh no! Although there are balls involved, lots of different color balls.
All right. What's your favorite food?
Chicken parma. My husband makes super chicken parma. Do you know what that is? Don't you? You know?
Yes,
oh my God! You don't know what fucking snooker is. Anyway, go on.
Alcohol-free drink.
Don't even go there. Don't Don't do it.
Song.
Sparkling water, that's my main frame.
Okay.
Don't do. I personally, I did a, what's it called? A Aikido course. And Aikido is just Japanese art, but a lot of it is to do with the theory behind it rather than actually kicking people's arses. So what they call drinking alcohol-free drinks is they call it going into the enemy camp. And for me, I know lots of people do alcohol-free drinks and they're happy out with it. No fucking chance, pal. I have an alcohol-free beer and I am 9/10 of the way there to having a proper beer. End off. There you go. Next.
Awesome. What's your favorite song?
Yeah, when you saw this, the first one that came into my head was, and you all need to listen to this. If you are a woman, you need to listen to this song. It's a song by a lady called Martha Wainwright, who has a very famous father. Jeff. Isn't his name Jeff? I can't remember. Anyway, he's an actor, etc., etc. And she wrote a song about her father called Bloody Motherfucking Asshole. Okay? And you need to look up that track because it is unreal. Is it Jeff Wainwright? I think it is.
Hold on. That's the FCC calling me real quick.
What's your favorite book?
Oh, like, are we talking about sobriety book
Any
or
book.
ordinary book?
No, any book.
It has to be Wuthering Heights. Has to be Wuthering Heights. I love it. I have a copy. I have the copy that I got for my leaving cert when I was 17. I still have inside. I've read it so many times I couldn't even tell you. Absolutely love it.
Animal.
I can tell you what my least favorite animal is.
Of course. Go ahead.
Do you know what? No, whales. I fucking hate whales. They scare the living shit out of me. And I looked it up, and it's a real thing. It's a phobia. It's called cetophobia. That's a fear of whales because they're so fucking big. I was going out with a fella years ago, and we were in Chicago actually, and he brought me to the what do you call them? Marine. This big place full of fucking water and water things. What do you call them? Not an aqua park.
Aquarium.
Aquarius. Thank you, Kets. Yeah, you're on my fucking vibe here. Anyway, we went into this, and I knew there was fish and shit like that around the place. And we walked into this, and there was this glass wall, and it must have been 100 feet high. And I didn't fucking know there was a poxy whale in there. And anyway, this thing just came floating down. I actually thought I was going to piss myself. I swear to God, the fear. But they had to separate the male and the female because the female had just had a calf. And apparently the male will kill it because it's taking away his attention, the mother's attention. How about that? Men are shit. And so, yeah, I don't have a favorite animal. I have a least favorite animal.
Oh my God, that was, you are just the best. And who would play you in a movie?
Kathy Bates.
Yes.
Yes. I saw an interview with her recently. I don't know if you know who Graham Norton is.
Yes. I love his show.
Yeah, I think it was him did an interview with Kathy Bates recently. Maybe, I think it was him anyway. And she was practicing her Irish accent. And at the time I thought, man, her Irish accent was shit. But I thought, man, if anybody ever played me in a movie, it'd have to be her. I fucking love her. I think she's exquisite. And Misery is another one of my favorite books.
Oh, I love that.
Oh, I thank you so much. I feel like next time I interview you, I'm gonna have to wear Depends. You just cracked me up.
You're gonna have to wear what?
Kill me.
Depends.
Adult diapers.
Oh,
Laughing.
okay. Oh yeah, because you're gonna piss yourself. Gotcha. Yeah. Got it.
This has
That's
been
you, Jeff.
I just want to quote Claire. I just want to thank the tree of you for being here.
That tree, very funny.
Well,
look,
I'm just saying it was. I heard a couple of tuh sounds when there was a th clearly stated, but that's okay.
Yeah,
now you have a Canadian accent.
Yeah. And a boat. Claire, you are unbelievable, amazing, but there's so much I was thinking when you were talking, we were out last night near the stadium where the Cincinnati Reds play the baseball, and there's Budweiser signs all around just when we're watching, from the view where we were sitting. And it's, if you're going to go to a baseball game, the norm, the acceptance, what you're supposed to do is drink, and it's like you said, Halloween, the social events with the kids. We had a baptism communion for the babies, and that is a 10 o'clock in the morning. Mimosas are supposed to be served. Those are, it's expected. It's normalized. And I felt, here I am at 10 o'clock in the morning. I'm feeling out of place at 10 in the morning because I'm not drinking. And I was cracking up saying, when I drank at 10 in the morning, people looked at me like, what the hell are you doing drinking? It's 10 in the morning. Yeah. Now I'm out of place because I'm not drinking at 10 in the morning.
Yeah,
it's just crazy.
Fucking nonsense. Pure and utter nonsense.
It's crazy, but you are unbelievable. Can't thank you enough. You have to come back for sure. Stick around here, but what unbelievable wisdom. And I hear so much what you said definitely applies to me, but I hear some things because we hear a lot of the women talking, and wow, there's the whole side of it that I can get away with that you are not supposed to get away with as a woman.
That's it. That's nail on the head, Jeff.
That's interesting.
Double standard.
Yeah. It is. And it's male privilege, but that just is that's nobody's fault. It's not your fault that you're a man. But it is, that's male privilege.
But it is your responsibility.
Yeah, boom, boom.
Thank you so much.
I knew it would. Look at Peggy. Peggy is glee, just joyful that I'm getting slammed again.
It's like
I bring nothing but love and compassion, and I get slammed by Peggy every day. I see you too. Thanks so much,
everyone.
Thank you, guys. It's been
Have
an
a good
absolute
weekend.
pleasure.
Take care, everyone.
Bye.
See ya.